Hey guys, Jared here, and today we're going to be doing a Thunder Dragon deck profile. It's a deck I've been playing the past couple of weeks, before the ban list even came out, and I've been really enjoying the deck. I think it has a lot of cool utility cards, a lot of cool interactions, so I picked up the deck and I gave it a shot, and I actually really like it. So I've had some success for the past couple weeks at locals with it. I haven't gone to any major events with it yet, but we'll see what happens. Probably in the future I will try it, but I wanted to show you guys what I've been having some success with and some cool interactions, and yeah, so just get right into it. So for the normal Thunder lineup, we play 3 copies of Thunder Dragon, pretty straightforward, 3 copies of Matrix. This is a pure build, so 3 Matrix, it's gonna be 3 of all of them, 3 Hawk, 3 Dark, and 3 Roar. And then I only played 1 duo. I don't like more than 1. I think the deck already has enough consistency issues as it is, so playing the 1 duo reduces that. If you need it, you can always just search it off of Dark to be able to get to it, and you can save it up for a follow-up for the following turn if you need to, or you can just draw into it if you really feel like getting sacky with it. But I don't like playing more than 1 just because it really does break the deck a lot more than it needs to. And if you know me, I'm all about consistency. I want it, as long as I can play the game, I feel like I'm in a good spot. So that's it for the main Thunder Dragon monsters. And now going on to the supporting cards, I decided to play 3 copies of Batteryman Solar. This is all very standard so far. I am playing the Dimension Shifter build, but if I was not, I would 110% play 3 copies of Aloof Lupine. This card gets a lot of hate. I understand why, because it doesn't blend to the best as you want it to, but this card is so good. It's everything you ever want in this deck. And I think I'm going to be playing more of this when the next set drops, when the generic Link 2 comes out. That is at the Quick Link. But for now, I'm going to keep it as a 2. I still like it at Solar for 3 and Lupine at 2. There's times where I was playing this at 3 and I would brick with the extra one, but I would still be in a winning situation. It's just something I didn't need. So I like the card at 2 for now, but maybe when next set drops, when there's more links to use with it, I think 3 might be the number for this. But since this is a Solar build, we are playing the triple Dimension Shifters. I really like this card. I feel like every time I resolve it, the game ends. I know Orcus isn't dead. The deck just falls over to this. Though I know the Pro Play Tour just ended, and there's a lot of rogue random decks that are in there, but Shifter still hurts a good amount of the decks in the meta, and especially because the last 2 turns you do the combos with Solar, because Shifter Solar is ridiculous combos. Yeah, I mean, this card is just ridiculous of how strong it is. It shuts them off for a turn, and then you get to play, excelled pretty much on your turn. So, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, so I really like this card at 3. And then the other hand trap I played was 3 Ash Blossom. Really good, generic hand trap. It just, like I said, the meta is still very wishy-washy. Even after the PPG, there's a lot of one-off decks, and this is just the generic best hand trap to play, in my personal opinion. So yeah, that's gonna round it off for the monsters. And then for spells, I play 2 copies of Instant Fusion. Very good card. Helps with going second, but it can also be good going first, because you make your Kaminari Attack and get your play started. Help banish a Dark or Roar from your hand to make Titan, and that card triggers, and then you can keep making your plays from there. But yeah, this card, it could be a 3 of. It's really strong by all means, because you want to see it almost in every hand. But I only play 2 Instant Fusion targets. If a game lasts more than 2 turns, it gets kind of annoying drawing them. But still really good card. After that, I played 3 copies of Thunder Dragon Fusion. This card is honestly my favorite card in the deck, I think, just because it makes the deck go infinitely long. It's kind of like the disciples of this deck. You can play infinitely with this and Dragon Roar. Literally, you can never deck out, and that's kind of what I love about it. And then being able to search any Thunder monster in itself is like, that's just an absurd effect. Like, you get to make, like, it's an extender on your turn, and then the following turn, you can play guaranteed, because you get to add, like, Dragonhawk to your hand, and then they revive back Roar, and then they make Colossus, and then Roar gets Dark, Dark gets another Thunder Dragon fusion, and it's like, you're just playing infinitely now. Like, once you get to that point, it's kind of hard for your opponent to stop you. So, yeah, this card's probably, I don't ever see myself playing less than 3 of this card. I also play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. I'm not going to explain that. It's obviously insane with Dark and Roar. I played 1 copy of Gold Sarcophagus because it's at 1. Very good card. Yada, yada, yada. And then getting to the tech cards, I decided to play 2 copies of Enemy Controller to round off the spells. And then I also played 2 copies of Paleo Dinoniscus for my traps. So Dinoniscus is pretty standard now, I'd say. It's good. It's like the best like generic trap to out things like Mystic Mine or any other floodgates that your opponent can have, while also hitting things like Tingrissu, Galatea, or any other generic monsters, or Titan, or Colossus, or stuff like that. It's just really good card removal, plus you discard a card which can be helpful in scenarios. So like, that's pretty standard. Enemy Controller, on the other hand, is probably not very standard in the main deck, but I have very, I would say, good reasoning to why I would main deck this card. So against like Orcust or Thunder, like getting around Tingrissu, or like Enemy Colossus, or Titans, like they're really, really hard to beat. So, and this card is like so generic that like you like Super Poly is not always good, but this card is good probably good like 80% of the time, except for against like the back row decks. But even then, like there's some variables. So being able to like tribute your guy, take their guy as an interruption, and then when you tribute certain Thunder Dragon monsters, you get their effects as well on your opponent's turn, which is also insane. And you're probably wondering like, oh, like when do you have a Thunder Dragon monster on your opponent's turn? I'll explain to you a scenario where you do put a Thunder Dragon monster on your opponent's turn that I feel like now people are underusing because the effect's so insane, but I'll get to that later. But yeah, like I think this card's just really, really good. I'll explain it when I get to the little part at the very end. But yeah, that's it for the main deck. Should be 40 cards. Like I said, I've had a very high success rate with this, so I mean, test it out yourselves if you like it. To change the deck, up to you guys. It's not a finite build, obviously. This is just testing purposes. I like to show you guys what I'm testing with to see what I can improve, try to make big changes, and I'll explain my thought process as I go, as I'm making these videos. So that's it for the main. On to the extra deck. We play 3 copies of Colossus because it's Colossus and he's kind of just the big boy. 3 copies of Titan, who, to be honest, I like him better than I like Colossus. I don't know why. Like, I just think this guy's insane. Like, he's so big, nothing can get over him. Like, the popping more than once per turn is, like, obnoxious. I've popped, like, 5 cards in 1 turn with this. That's just, like, unfair in my head. Like, the generic protection of, like, being able to banish, like, spells of, like, Allure of Darkness and stuff is ridiculous. I feel like summoning him is easier with an instant fusion. Like, it's just so many, like, pluses with this card. Like, I don't know why. And that's it for those guys. For instant fusion, we play 1000 Eyes Restrict and 1 Kaminari Attack. That is very, very standard. There is nothing special about that, so I do not need to explain that. And then going into Link monsters, from Link forward and down, we played 1 BorrelSword Dragon for whenever we need to kill our opponent. He beats over any monster in the game. Very, very good for obvious reasons. We played 1 BLS Soldier of Chaos and 1 Knightmare Unicorn. So there's like plays where you can Link Climb and still draw cards as you're going up with the Link Climb, which is really good. So I really like Unicorn. Outs like, you know, generic BS, like there can only be 1, you know, anything like that. Soldier of Chaos, some decks just cannot beat this card, so that's why I decided to play it. Like Salmangre cannot beat this card. It's very hard for them because it's easy to make it with Colossus. So yeah, this card is kind of ridiculous. And then for Link 2s, we played Knightmare Phoenix, Psyframe Lambda, and some Summoner. So Phoenix is pretty obvious. This is usually against the back row decks where you go Phoenix, pop a card, then you link in the Unicorn, spin another card, and you just choose to the back row like it's nothing. Some Summoners obvious, but this is probably one of my favorite cards in the deck because I think its effect's ridiculous and very underused, and this is the part with the enemy controller that I'll talk about. And then Psyframe Lambda is very, very good, generic link too. There was a point in my thought process where I want to play Psyframe Gamma and Driver, because what happened, there's this like a scenario where you use Aloof or Solar and you do a combo and you end on like Lambda with like Colossus and Colossus under it, or like Lambda, Colossus, Titan, or any kind of scenario like that. And then if you're main decking Gamma and they Nibiru you at the end of main phase, you Gamma them, and then after you Gamma them, you can link the Gamma, Driver, and Lambda into Appaloosa, and then you have extra negates, or you can let the you can synchro the Gamma and the Driver into Omega, use the Omega to banish a card out of their hand, and then the Lambda triggers adds a second Gamma for their turn. So, I mean, it's a lot of variables of things you can do in this deck. That was just one of the thoughts I had. I haven't tried that yet. I'm going to be testing that soon. I can give feedback on that whenever I do, but that was something that I really, really liked. I give credit to my friend Evan for that. He gave me the idea, but yeah, super, super strong card. And then for the last like monster, I just played Linkuriboh. That's just for Thousand Eyes and Matrix, because really, really good. And this being able to revive itself has come up too. So, yeah, that's it for the extra deck. That's 15. I'm not going to show side deck in my videos because there is no reason to, as the meta is undefined, and the side deck changes pretty much on a weekly basis, depending on what I see at my local tournaments. So, yeah. But in part of the enemy controller thing that I was talking about, there are situations where you can end with that. And let's say you have a Dragon Roaring Graveyard with a Summoner on the field. And then we can put a Colossus on the field. No, not Colossus, Titan, I mean. So this is one of the openers that I would say is pretty easy to start with. And say this is your graveyard over here. So you have some Titan and Roaring Graveyard with enemy controller set. So, and then you have X cards in hand, because you obviously have X cards in hand. So during your opponent's turn, let's say they summon something that you don't like say they summon a Salamangreat, or they go into Galatea, or something that you want to interrupt. You use the Summoner to tribute off, to discard a card. So let's just say you discard Dinoniscus in your hand. You revive back the Dragon Roar. Dragon Roar comes back. Let's say it's a Galatea. On the summon, you enemy controller, tribute Roar, take the Galatea, Roar triggers, and since Roar triggers, that allows you to get Dark. If you don't have Dark, you get Matrix, whichever one you don't have, because then you can save the pop for Titan. And then, so what happens is you interrupted that play by taking their Galatea, because we all know stealing monsters is probably the best thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! During the end phase, their monster goes back, but it's pretty much been neutralized, as it's not going to do anything. Also during the end phase, Roar's effects are going to resolve to bounce back the Dark in hand, and then while still in the end phase, you can activate the Dark to discard itself, and then trigger Titan to add another Dark, and then to pop a card also in the end phase. So pretty much, for such a very like simple setup, I suppose, you interrupted their play, you pop the card, and you still have Titan on the field, and some for possible more value in the future, or to go in the Colossus after this turn. Because I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of matchups where you don't want to go in the Colossus with this because it's just not that great. Colossus isn't always the right play. I feel like that's one of the things that people mess up with this deck. There's a lot of utility to the cards, and you gotta know how to make them, and overextending is very, very easy. And yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it for this deck profile. I'm still tweaking things. Like I said, I want to try the Psyframe out, the package. I was thinking about possibly a Guard Dragon engine in here. I haven't tried testing it out yet, but I'm just taking it one step at a time. But I will post updates as I go if I like the deck. And then I'm also working on some random meme things, because I also like having fun in this game, not just always playing tier 1, whatever it may be at the time. But yeah, that's going to be it, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy. Feel free to subscribe, comment, whatever other decks you'd like me to see work on. I put a lot of thought into the decks that I make, and I get a lot of outside-the-box ideas, in my opinion. So feel free to give me ideas. I'm always looking for